Awesome. Welcome everyone to Cisco's virtual kitchen and welcome back to our season 3 shows. We have, first of all, I'm going to get into the show right away that we're going to do today because it is it's a first show. It's a new show, exciting show. And yeah, there's a lot of great things to talk about here in a second. But before we get into that, I got to talk about the 299 shows that we're doing this year from September 1st all the way till June. 299 shows on our network, everything. We are, and I'm going to tag this, the Oprah of food service. Because you don't know what our shows are going to be about. Every day we have different things, different shows. We have 12 different cooking shows. We have marketing shows, diversity inclusion shows. And we have a show today that is all about women in food, which I'm super stoked to get into here in a second. But I have to let you know that this Friday is also Influencer Friday. So not at 3 o'clock usual Eastern time, but 11 Eastern time. We're cooking up cookies with Chef Poyen. We're going to be doing product reviews with cookies this Friday, which is kind of bizarre. But we have so much more shows, always Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then you can rewatch. Liana likes to rewatch our shows. 7 p.m. at tonight. Rewatch 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're live again, or not live, but it's rewatched. Live, but rewatch, I guess. And then on Saturdays, you can also watch on my channels and binge watch all the shows that we have on our network. So anyways, what we're going to do different today, folks, and all the people are going to watch this later because we have on-demand channels on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Not just listen to the shows on Spotify, but you can actually watch them on Spotify, which is pretty cool. Which not too many people do that. Anyways, I have that. We have it. So anyways, Mel, you good? So
I'm good.
Anyway, I'm going to pass my network. First time I've ever done this. I'm going to give the keys of my network, my show, the bazillion hours it's taken to get us to be the number 5 podcast in North America and also the number 1 show in our industry. I'm going to hand the keys over to these ladies, Chef Liana, Melanie Campbell from TD Bank. This is your show now, ladies. I will see you guys later after, and congratulations on your show.
Oh, thank you, Jay. We're so excited. We're so excited because this platform is really about, speaking to women and giving us this platform to talk about all the joys, all the hits, all the misses, and authentically, coming together and sharing those experiences with each other. So it's going to be a really fantastic experience. It's all about those, about inspiration, motivation, and all those things behind the scenes that sometimes, we don't get an opportunity to talk about, but now we do. It's about all that support and all those things coming together. What do you think, Mel?
I'm just really excited to be on the same platform as you. It's an honor. And I think what is really great about this show, I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but I've never seen it. But, when we think about the population, it's like 51% of the population are women in Canada. And I think it's pretty close to the same in the United States. And last year, the statistics said 49% of new businesses were started by women. So it's so great that we actually have a show that is catered to all women in the food and beverage industry. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to learn everything. So it'll help all those starting business, and those who have business will be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I never thought of that. So I can learn from this. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So, and our new guests are like very first. She's excited to be on the show. So it's going to be good.
I'm so excited for that as well. I got a tour, so we'll get to learn a little bit more about our guest today.
Oh, and great product placement I see already.
Yes, I'm actually drinking the charity. So we'll talk a little bit about that when she comes on. I think are we breaking for a commercial soon?
I believe we are.
Oh, I'm excited.
Hey guys, I'm Rena from OO.
I'm Kayla from OO. This fall and winter, I'll be co-hosting Food in a Boot on the Cisco Virtual Kitchen Network.
Digital maps these days may tell you information and reviews on a restaurant,
but they don't tell you about the people that hang out there.
OO is on a mission to help people connect better in real life by seeing communities of interest on a map.
Join us this fall when we take to the streets. We can't wait to hang out.
Love the commercial. So I am so excited. Today we have our very first guest on the SVK network for the All Women's Show. And today we have right here in Calgary, in our local community that both Liana and I are from, co-founder and vice president, Carly Jacobsen of Revita Energy Tea. Am I saying it correctly?
Rvita.
Revita. It's important we get the name right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Melanie and Liana, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited too.
Yeah, this is really great because I think, I was saying to Liana at the beginning there, I just recently had a tour of your warehouse and your plant where you're manufacturing your teas. And it was so surreal because I've never had one before. So it's quite the honor. But I always like to ask people before we get started and put them on the spot a little bit. But what was the last thing you recently searched on your phone when you went onto Google?
Oh, that is such a good question. And I'm sure we'll get into my background a little bit, but I used to be a nurse. So the beverage industry, business in general is all so new to me. So I live on Google. There's so much terminology and things for me to constantly learn. But one thing that sparked my mind this week is I'm always looking up new books. I love to read, and my whole team, we're very avid readers and avid learners. And at the start of every month, I always order new books for myself for the month. So I was researching a new author that I'm interested in, and always be learning. That's what I was searching on Google this week.
Oh, I have a question, Carly, food related. This just kind of came to me because I'm food obsessed. Have you ever tried having any cooking with your energy drink, with your tea, like any pairing with food?
That's a really good question. And you know what, we always like to say Revita pairs well with anything. So just to tell you a little bit about what Revita is, it's a healthy energy drink, but the caffeine just comes from tea. So it's just organic honey, fruit juice, caffeine from tea. It's non-carbonated. It's very light and refreshing. Melanie's got our black cherry flavored cherry there. And it pairs well, amazing. A lot of people drink them in the morning as a replacement for coffee. It goes great with your breakfast. I personally always drink mine in the afternoon when I feel like I need a little bit of a sweet pick-me-up to get me through the afternoon slump. But especially on a hot summer day, it's very light and refreshing. Pairs very, very well with any meal or as a pre or a post-workout too.
Because my chefy brain wants to create a recipe with this.
And you know what, we have a lot of customers that reach out. They put Revita in their smoothies, they make mocktails out of it, so the possibilities are endless.
New obsession. I'm into it. Okay. I have another question. Did you ever think when you were growing up that you would be an entrepreneur? I asked this question because last month I was at the university with some students, and one of the students there, she was telling me that this most hilarious story because she had this choice. Growing up, sometimes kids think like, oh, I want to be a ballerina, I want to be a lawyer, or I want to do this. But she hilariously thought that she wanted to be a private investigator, like a detective. So anyway, she's going to be a neuroscientist, as it turns out. She was going to, because she was really integrated into food science, but her end goal would be a neuroscientist. She has this big interest in food and puzzles, but one of her things was she wanted to be a detective. So what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I love that. Well, my number one thing when I wanted to grow up is I wanted to work at Petland. Growing up, I actually really didn't know what my career path was going to be. I always struggled to figure out my niche and where I fit in and what I wanted to do. And when I look back, I had a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies. I was always a very creative kid. I was always very interested in learning about money and sales, and I always loved working with people. But as I grew up, the thing I really always wanted is I wanted a career that would be meaningful. I wanted something that would be creative, that would allow me to build something, and at the forefront, that would be able to help people, and something where I would be able to work with people and truly make a difference. And so out of high school, I actually went into nursing, and that was my original career path. And I worked as a nurse for 3 years, and well, I loved it, very near and dear to my heart. I always felt like I wanted to do something more. I still really wanted to do something creative. And when my brother and my best friend Rob had the idea to start this energy drink company, invited me to be a part of it and lead the sales and the marketing and the customer experience, it was such a natural fit. And now that I'm in it, I can't see myself doing anything else. And I just absolutely love everything about it.
So cool. Wow.
In early days, I'm just curious because I got a tour of the plant, but I had no idea what it looked like in your first, let's say 90 days of your business. You guys are celebrating 3 years now, are you? Is it your anniversary?
We just had our 3rd birthday last week.
Yeah. So what did it look like, your brother and Mitch Jacobsen and Rob, your partner, with the business? What did it look like when you guys first started out? Where are you making your tea? How did you come up with the ideas?
Well, I'll start with how we came up with the idea. So the idea was actually sparked by a really good friend of ours, and he's okay now, but he actually suffered a minor heart attack in his early 20s that was attributed to traditional energy drinks. And my brother was out with him the night that it happened and actually drove him to the hospital. And so Mitch had this idea, there's all of these energy drinks on the market. We know they're not great for you. We know that kids are drinking them and they're having these cardiac events. Why isn't there something healthier on the market? And so that's the idea. That was, that's where Revita first came from. And then it actually started with a Google search, how to start a beverage brand. And then from there, it was, we got a food scientist to help us formulate it. But it had very humble beginnings. Up until a year and a half ago, we did absolutely everything out of Mitch's house. We used to work with a third-party manufacturer that would ship us product, and we would store pallets of it in Mitch's living room. And we would do everything from there, from shipping off the front porch. We did all of our sales calls, everything from the house. And the business has really grown. And in the last year and a half, we moved into our very own warehouse. And most recently, we actually finished the construction of our very own manufacturing plant here in Calgary too. So we're actually manufacturing the beverages ourselves now. So it's come a long way in 3 years, but it had very humble beginnings.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you so much.
What is the biggest misconception that people had about you in your field of expertise?
That is such a good question. I think it kind of relates to the last question. One of the biggest myths, I think, in food and beverage, or really in any packaged goods product, is that you have to spend a ton of money on advertising and marketing in order to make your mark on the world, in order to grow your brand. Because we started with, such limited resources, we had to be extremely scrappy and resourceful with our budget and with everything we did. And so I'm really proud to say that we've built our brand these last 3 years primarily on word of mouth. I think a lot of people would be really surprised to know that we spend very little marketing and advertising dollars. A core value of ours is superb customer experience. And we really believe in taking one customer, going above and beyond, and turning them into two. And we do that one customer at a time. And when you treat every customer like they're your only customer, they'll go out and they'll spread the word about you. They'll tell their friends and family. They'll leave you reviews. And so we've been so fortunate and blessed to create such an amazing community of supporters. And by doing that and just using the resources, just the three of us getting out, being social, doing the right thing, and being good to people, we've managed to build our brand entirely off of word of mouth.
Wow, that's incredible. Do we have time for another question, Liana, or are we breaking for another commercial?
Well, I don't see Jay with I believe we're going to be breaking for another commercial. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I was thinking about what you were saying, and you were having that conversation with Liana, and you talked about starting. First of all, thank you so much. You were a nurse through the last few years, probably the most difficult time to be a nurse in the last couple decades. So into being an entrepreneur, and that's always scary for me. I've actually thought about one day I'd love to be an entrepreneur. I'm more of an entrepreneur, an entrepreneurship spirit that I bring to work. But I was thinking, for myself, when I look at wanting to be an entrepreneur, and Liana and I were talking about that, most of us don't know where to start. And you talk about Google, but I mean, if you were to give advice to, say, somebody knocked on your door and said, can you give me some advice about, what you've learned as an entrepreneur? What are some sort of things that you would give for someone else starting out to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. So I think it's very simple, but I think just learning to start. I think when I talk to a lot of new prospective business owners, I think they fall victim to really paralysis by analysis. You think that you have to have this perfect idea, this perfect execution before you launch it to market, and you end up just sitting on a great idea for a long time. And I think a golden piece of advice is just to pick small actions that you can do every day that you can execute on and just start. When we started Revita, our product looked completely different than it does today. We had one flavor. We had a very simple website that sometimes didn't even work half the time. Our package design, when we look back on it now, it was very rudimentary. But as soon as we got those samples, we launched it into market. We wanted to put it out into market to gain that valuable customer feedback so that we could learn and improve and grow. And it's also a very dynamic, changing market. And so you need to have a sense of urgency as well. So I think it starts with defining what you need to do, taking those small, daily, simple actions, and just not being afraid of what people think, not being afraid of failing. I think the only true failure is quitting. You have to just keep going. And especially in this industry, you really need to gain that market feedback and what the customers are really looking for. So you need to put your product out there, be vulnerable, and be receptive to the feedback.
I love it. I think it's such a grind. And often there's that misconception out there where we see business owners and entrepreneurs, and we just think of them as the success they are behind the brand. But most of us don't really know the work that goes into literally like the hours, blood, sweat, and tears. It's awesome.
Speaking about hard work, did you have any difficulties being a female entrepreneur?
You know what? There's definitely challenges.
Let's get real.
Yeah, especially in grocery, it's a very male-dominated industry. I mean, all the buyers that we work with, the grocery managers that we work with, it's very male-dominated. But I think, whether you're a man or a female, I think it's important to just be confident and just be yourself. And if you believe in your product, you can sell it to anybody. And so I've never felt like that's held me back. I work just as hard as the boys here. And, I'm always learning. I'm always striving to be better. And when you're confident, people take you seriously and they respect you in the industry. So for all the women out there, don't let that hold you back. There's so much room for women to really be successful in this industry and to create great products and to really make your mark in the food and beverage space.
Oh, well, I'm super stoked and excited to hear you say that, because I know from my own experiences as a female in the hospitality industry, that has not been my experience. And yes, you can work hard, and yes, you can have all those things, but I've had a lot of mishaps and very not cool things happen to me. So yes, on all the hard work, but the realities of it, I had to overcome a lot to move ahead, to have those things. So to having heard you say that you haven't had any of those things, that is very encouraging.
What's it like? Because I have a sales background, and I know that you're responsible for getting into market. First of all, what types of markets are you in right now? Where can we actually go and buy your energy drink, Revita teas?
Yeah, great question. So we're mostly Canada-wide right now. So you can find us in Western Canada. We're in all of the Safeway and Sobeys. We're in Co-op. And perhaps one of the big exciting things, we're launching into Walmart very soon. So here in about 3 or 4 weeks, so excited. You're going to be able to find us in Walmart stores nationally all across Canada. And then hopefully we're going to have plans to expand internationally down into the U.S. in the next 1 to 2 years as well.
That's huge. I did see you at I shop a lot at Calgary Co-op, and I did see, it was very exciting.
Well, Calgary Co-op has been amazing. I can't say enough good things about Safeway, Sobeys, and Co-op because we've worked with their local programs, and it's absolutely incredible how supportive they are for local brands. Especially the last couple of years since the pandemic, I really found that there's a push to support local, and the buyers have been just so receptive to us, and they've given us such amazing placements in all their stores. So we're so happy to be working with them.
Yeah, I do lots of work with Calgary Co-op too. They're incredible to work with.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Wow, amazing. What's next? Now that you have this on your brain, now you're like, now next, this is going to be under my umbrella.
Always thinking ahead, absolutely. So we're just really working on absolutely right. Always got to be 3 steps ahead. But really working on rounding out our distribution. So our next big steps for us is really expanding out east into Ontario. We recently just finished the construction of our manufacturing facility, so we're still really working on getting that fine-tuned and up and going. And we recently started the batching of our brand new flavor, our 6th flavor that we're going to be releasing next summer. And we did taste test yesterday, and it's amazing. So that's going to be the next big thing for us that we're so excited about.
Oh, that is really exciting to hear. I see Revita like candies, like there's all sorts of like, lozengers. I don't know. Maybe I'm just manifesting this, but I see it in the future.
Yeah. The possibilities are endless. If you have any ideas, please send them my way.
Oh, you just open a can of worms. I'm full of ideas.
I can't wait to hear them all.
Yeah, for me, like I actually am always looking for, you went back and talked about something really personal about, where you guys got the idea and how Mitch was personally impacted by a friend. And what's great is that you have that medical background as a nurse. You're aware of the risks and, you talked about the cardiac risks, and most of us consume caffeine, whether we get it through our coffee intentionally or energy drinks or even through our chocolates. I must confess, I love my chocolate, but I love the ingredients. It's made with filtered water. I mean, from a nutritional standpoint, I have to have caffeine to function, but I'm just really impressed, and I love that you're local and you're Canadian. What's one thing you'd like to share as a takeaway today with the audience?
Well, I'm just, first of all, so grateful to be here. I'm still pinching myself. I never thought 3 years ago when I was working as a nurse at the hospital that, I would now be running an energy drink brand. I'd be sitting here with the amazing ladies talking about this. So I'm just very grateful. But you know what? The thing I just want to share with the audience is if you have an idea for a great product, there is so much support for local, and there's so much support for healthy brands, for better for you brands. I really see the trend going towards the natural and the wellness space, which is so amazing to see people, taking their health so seriously. So if you have a great idea for a product that is going to help people, just launch it to market, just get started, because the world needs more of that.
I'm inspired. I got to do it.
Oh,
I know. Yeah. Ideas. We'll have to talk about that on the next show. But the entrepreneur at heart too. Thank you so much, Carly, for agreeing to be on with us and being the first guest.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
And I think if anyone that's watching this show as a female entrepreneur or women-led business within the food and beverage industry, if you would love to be on this show, you can reach out to myself or Liana or Jay at Cisco, and we'd love to have you on the show as a guest. And Carly, what's your favorite flavor of all the drinks you have?
Okay, that's like choosing my favorite child. They're all amazing. But I have to say, our original strawberry, our divine strawberry, is always the #1 top seller. It's always my go-to. It was our first flavor, so we put the most love into that one. So I'm gonna have to say that one's my favorite.
Okay.
This one right here.
Oh, I'm gonna try it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how we are for time, Liana.
I think we are. I think that's a wrap.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being our guest, Carly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, have a wonderful day.